Hi guys, happy Sunday, and this is my knitting podcast, and I am here to talk about knitting and crochet and all sorts of yarny things in general. So if this sounds like something that you might be interested, I would appreciate it if you stuck around and possibly hit the like or subscribe button to help other people find my channel. Today I'm going to talk about a finished item, and I also have some, so I picked up some yarn from the yarn store where we went kind of up north and stayed for a little bit, and I found some great yarn, so I'm going to show you that. I've got a finished item, and I also have been still working on the Irish gold cardigan. I'm going to let you know in advance that it's going to be a long haul with that one because, like I said, it's fingering weight. I definitely love how the pattern's turning out though, so I'm excited about that. Today I'm actually wearing the only colorwork sweater, the all over colorwork sweater that I've ever done. I'm actually wearing this on purpose because I have a couple of colorwork goals that I'm going to talk about later involving some patterns that I've stumbled across, and I wanted to wear this to kind of contrast where I am in colorwork and some things that I want to do differently in the future. And I figured it would be easiest if I wore this to show you the specific areas that are kind of bothering me with this sweater. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So this past week we went to about an hour and a half away just to let the kids play at an indoor water park, and they had a ball. The problem was that it was President's Day, and naturally, the whole world decided to do the exact same thing we did, which makes total sense, right? It's not a very unique idea. So the water park was pretty crowded, which was okay. The kids still had a ball, but the only problem was there wasn't any tables for me to be able to sit in the I don't want to say outdoor because it's not outdoor. It's kind of encapsulated with clear fiberglass. You're basically in a dome, right? You can see outside, but you're protected from the elements. Anyway, there was nowhere for me to sit out there, which would have been great. So I pretty much hung out in the hotel room, which was also good. I listened to some audiobooks. I knit, obviously, and it was probably really good for me because I hadn't been feeling well that entire week with some pain, so it turned out good. And the kids had a ball. But anyways, enough about that. I finished another Sinister Cat hat, and this one is for my daughter. So I'm going to show it off. Now, I actually have the one that I made my son that I'm going to contrast and compare with. But first I'm going to show you this one. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but these little cats here were knit with Lion Brand Touch of Alpaca. So I believe it's 90% acrylic and 10% alpaca. I believe. If I'm wrong, I'll put it down below. But it's something like that. So the little cats are kind of fuzzy. I don't know if you can tell, but I thought that was pretty cute. So the purple on this hat is Cascade 220. And you can tell that it blocked much better than my son's hat did. And I'm going to bring it up and show you. So his was knit with Lion Brand limited edition, which is 100% acrylic, and you can tell how the stitches just didn't want to relax, as opposed to this one, which did quite well. So that's something that I need to keep in mind, especially when I'm knitting, I need to take, when I'm knitting with an acrylic yarn, I need to take more care when I'm forming the stitches to kind of get more consistency if I'm going to mix it with wool. Non-superwash wool, so that means I can't, you know, throw it in the washer and dryer. But I really do like this hat and I think it's cute. My daughter also likes it. So I just left the floats long on this, which seemed to work out good. I am pretty sure this is my favorite way of dealing with floats, which is kind of lazy, but that's okay. I did read something that mentioned afterthought jacquard floats. So there's a good possibility I am going to try to do that, which in my mind, and I haven't looked up how to do the technique, just means that you leave your floats long and then just basically do a knit stitch with the floats. So see, I would just knit, like I would pick those up as though I was going to, as though I dropped a stitch and just knit up the row. I haven't read about the technique to figure out what to do with the loop that I'm going to have at the end, but it seems like a good thing I could try, right? Especially with this hat for my daughter, because I mean, she's old enough to where she's not going to get like fingers or anything caught in the loops, but it would be a good hat to attempt to do that technique on. So if I do, I will show it next time and let you guys know. I think this cat hat is so cute. I was very tempted, see these cats? I was very tempted to take some red or pink yarn, like a light or dark pink, no, like a darker pink, and make a little bow on the ear. But I didn't get to it. I also didn't think, I'm not very good at duplicate stitch, so I didn't think it was going to turn out as good as it was in my mind. So you can take a look and actually, oops, I'm dropping things. You can compare the difference between the two hats and see kind of, this one was knit a bigger size, so one size bigger. So that might also be why it looks a little bit different, but it's crazy sometimes how, I mean, knitting, I guess, is like everything else. You definitely have to pay attention to the tools you use, the yarn you use, and just make sure that you take into account what you're using while you're doing it. I mean, there's no right or wrong tool or yarn. It's just you have to be aware of what you're using and make adjustments. But that was that hat, and I was very happy to get it done because, like I said, I wasn't feeling good the last week. I am much better now, thankfully. So this next one is actually my very long-term project here. And I say long-term because it feels like one row takes me about 20 minutes to knit. And I have joined the underarms, and I have 19, I believe, yeah, 19 inches to go from the underarms. And right now, I believe last night I hit 9 inches. So here we are, and I love this color, and I love how, I don't know if you can tell, I'm using such a short cord because it's just so much easier to manage it. So let me kind of straighten it out here. Do you see the heathering of the yarn, you can tell how I'm helical knitting, and I love that effect. I think it's so pretty. Anytime I use hand-dyed yarn, I try to helical knit because I love the way that it makes those little, I don't want to say stripes, but like you can tell it just looks so nice. I don't know what I'm trying to say. This is the Irish Gold cardigan from Joji Locatelli, and this is knit for my mom. This is a size 6, and it is knit on, let me see, I'll tell you right now. It is 3.5 millimeters, and I'm using fingering weight yarn. And I can't wait for this to be done because I know she's going to be super excited about it. It's great. I feel like I'm going to be showing this for a very long time because it's just, it's a labor of love here. But I'm excited that I'm finally making her a cardigan. She's asked for, well, she doesn't really ask very much, but she did mention sometime last year that she would like one. So I'm glad that I can finally make her one, and I know that she'll be excited. I don't even think she knows that I started on it, and I didn't want to tell her until it was almost done because waiting is not very much fun, and I know that. So the armholes are here, or the end of the arms are here, and then I've got this much. So it's about 9 inches, and like I said, the pattern calls for 19 inches, which seems very long for short me because I'm only 4'8", so my sweaters are nowhere near 19 inches, but I'm gonna follow pattern exactly and I've been making sure I get gauge and everything because, like I said, it's not mine, and I want to make sure that I follow the pattern specifications the way that I should. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is the Irish Gold cardigan from Joji Locatelli. This is a very simply constructed cardigan, and it's been a lot of fun to knit, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the future. So that's all I've worked on this week. That doesn't seem very exciting, does it? But I do have some kind of dreams that I want to, some color work dreams that I definitely want to kind of achieve. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I have some color work dreams that I want to achieve in the next year. So I was listening to Chevy Roll's podcast, and she mentioned a cardigan that she wants to do, and it's an amazing cardigan, and I've never seen it before. So I will put up a picture here. I believe it's called the Voyage cardigan from Woolen Pine, but if I'm wrong, the info will be down here. Now, this is such a pretty, this cardigan is so pretty, and I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, I definitely want to go do this sometime this year. So now the cardigan has all over color work, and I believe the sleeves are plain. So I have some, I believe the color is called Antique White from Blackbird Sycamore Yarns. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And I would really love to use that in this cardigan for the sleeves. Now, for the body, I have a bunch of pink mini skeins that I got from an Advent. And I'm thinking they're different shades of pink, and I'm thinking that I can totally make that cardigan with a pink body and then like the antique white sleeves. Does that sound crazy? It probably is crazy, right? I don't think I've ever really seen an all-over colorwork sweater done in shades of pink before, but I'm thinking I'm gonna try it. If nothing else, I will love it, and it will make me very happy. Now, the interesting thing about this cardigan, and I've been reading on it from the pattern page, is that it's steeked. And it's not just steeked, you don't just cut it down the middle. I believe you cut the sleeves too. So, like, I am going to have to practice steeking. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be practicing steeking on like these little projects. So if you have any like little projects that require steeking that you know of, that, you know, like a, I don't know, like a, I don't want to say mittens because those aren't really even small, like an iPhone cover or something small. Like a mug rug, maybe. Let me know down below because I'm definitely going to be looking at those. I need to figure out a way to steek using superwash yarn. So it'll probably be the crochet. I know that you can reinforce the steek using a crochet hook, so that's probably what I'm going to be looking at doing. But it makes me super excited to think about because, like I said, I love doing the hats, but I really, in my heart, like I'm a garment knitter, and I really like making sweaters or making cardigans, or just, I like making larger projects. It's just who I am. So if I could come up with a good plan to do that, and do all pink, I think that would be a lot of fun. That is my first goal for the year, so I'm not sure when I'll start on it. Like I said, I'm going to have a lot of steeking practice I need to get in, and definitely some more color work, especially involving the floats. I haven't bought the pattern yet to check and see how the charts look. Like, are there long floats, or I haven't looked into any of that yet, so that's going to be something that I need to take into consideration. Now, my second color work goal for the year, I guess, is I have the sock pattern. This sounds weird, right? So I have this sock pattern that I love, and so I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 85, so I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and throughout my childhood, one of my favorite games was The Legend of Zelda, and I'm still a big Legend of Zelda fan, and I found these colorwork socks that are Legend of Zelda inspired, right? And I'll put up a picture here because I love the socks. They're amazing. And my biggest idea for this year would be to take these colorwork socks and to turn them into sweater sleeves. So I don't know if you are familiar with the sock arm sweater. And if you aren't, it's by, I believe, Stephanie Latvin, and I'll put up a picture here. And I love this sweater pattern. It is basically a sweater with a plain body, and you take a self-striping yarn and you do sleeves with them. And that's a great idea, and I love that. Like I said, I love the sweater pattern. So my plan, and this is probably crazy, is to knit the body of the sock arm sweater in a plain yarn. I'm not sure what color, probably like a darker color for that, but it all depends. That's in the future. So my goal is to make the sock arm sweater body, and then to take the sock pattern and make sleeves for the sweater. So this is going to be interesting because it's going to, I believe, yeah, I've been trying to figure it out in my head, but what I believe is going to happen is that I'm going to have to knit the sleeves from the bottom and work my way up. Sorry guys, the battery died. So what was I talking about? Oh, okay, so the sock arm sweater. Like I said, I'm planning on making the body as the pattern suggests, and then I'm going to take the sleeves and use the sock pattern charts to make the sleeves. And the sleeves are going to have to be worked from bottom up. I don't think they have to be worked bottom up, but hear me out. So the sock chart is only going to be so long, right? So I'd rather work it bottom up. So I start the chart here and then work it, work it, work it. And then I can fade into whatever color I end the chart with. So the rest of the sleeve is that color. And then I will have whatever gap of that color that I need to have to make the sleeve long enough without having to do, like, I mean, gauge swatches. That sounds terrible. I'm sorry. I do gauge swatches, but I feel like for this, it's just going to work better, especially with when you take into consideration color work. Gauge is a little bit different. That I'll be able to make the sleeve as long as I want without worrying about it too much. That is my goal, and I love these socks. And I love that sweater pattern, and I'm gonna kind of like crunch them together to make like a really fun sweater, hopefully. I think that the sock arm Zelda sweater will be easier than the Woolen Pine Steeking, especially because that one is a lot more color work. So I'm not sure which one I will do first. I've really thought long and hard about that Zelda sweater, so I'm almost like, I really want to make it. So I'm super excited about that. Now, I told you that I wore this sweater because I wanted to kind of nitpick it. Because like I said, this is the year of like learning and doing better with color work. So this is my all over color work sweater that I made. This is, I believe, Outcrop by Rachel Ilsley. And I do love the pattern, but there are some things that I did myself that I didn't think turned out right the way that I would have preferred them to turn out. So the first thing that bothers me is this neck. I think is too loose. I don't like it. And honestly, I think that the reason that I'm having grief with this is because I shouldn't have picked the size I did. I believe I picked medium, and I should have picked small to cast on with. So this neck is pretty loose, and I would have preferred it much tighter, like say here. And another thing that bothers me is this bunching. So I almost want to say that it has at least partially something to do with how this is a yoke sweater, and with all over color work you tend to increase like in one row really fast, because probably because of like charting stuff, but it increased so fast in some of these rows. And I know it was because with the charts and everything, it's just super complicated to do it that way. Another thing that bothered me is right here. I need to like, I want it to be smaller there. And what I should have done, and this is, like I said, I picked the wrong size, and I think the issue was that I was between sizes. I should have taken the pattern, cast it on with the amount of stitches that I knew was going to fit me, and then kind of reworked the stitch numbers a little bit to, since this is fingering weight yarn and I use that quite often, I'm pretty good at figuring out like the cast on for the neck. And then from that number, I could have taken a look at the pattern and saw, okay, this size is closest to the cast on that I need, so I'm going to start there. And since it's top down, I could have tried it on as I went and kind of adjusted. If I would have had to change in between, like if I would start at a small and then say down here, I could have adjusted it to be a medium. I figure I could have made that work somehow. But like I said, this was the first, honestly, this was the first all over colorwork sweater I did. And I'm pretty positive that this was like the biggest colorwork project I ever did. Before this, I probably would have made like a hat or two in colorwork. I was definitely not even close to experienced. But I mean, other than, you know, a little bit of extra room there, it doesn't, I like it. I really love this designer. She has such like beautiful patterns, so you should definitely check her out if you haven't. Her name is Rachel Ilsley, and she's got a bunch of all over colorwork sweaters, and then she has just colorwork yokes. If you've ever been interested in like geometric designs, she definitely has those. It's awesome to see all of her new designs. I love seeing them when they pop up on Instagram, and I get to check out what she's been up to lately. So if you haven't, definitely check her out. She's awesome. Okay, so those are my colorwork plans for better or worse. I'm hoping, so it's February right now. I'm hoping that soon I'll be able to possibly start the sock arm sweater after I finish my mom's Irish gold cardigan. I have the Thursday special that I'm going to be casting on for my daughter and myself. And then I have one kind of summery top that I'm going to show you the yarn that I just got for it that I'm going to be casting on. So sometime after those. But so here we are. There's going to be crinkling. I'm sorry. So when we went to Frankenmuth, I saw this yarn from across the room, and I have never tried it before, and so I thought it would be fun too. And as you can see, this is a very pretty, I don't want to say me color because what am I trying to say? I'm usually into pinks, but I saw this hanging up and I was like, wow. So this is Emma's yarn, and it says it's hand dyed in Florida, and I've never tried it before. It is on super silky base, and it is 80% superwash merino and 20% silk. It's 400 yards, and I got 3 of them. So I picked up this yarn from the yarn store that we go to when we go to the indoor water park, because I love just stopping there and supporting, you know, small yarn businesses. And it makes me happy to do that. And what I'm going to be making with this is right after the Thursday special, and I'll put up a picture up here. It is called Castaway, and I can't remember who designed it, so I'll put the info down here. It's a really pretty top, and it has seashells at the bottom. So I thought that with the yarn color and the fact that it was silky, it would make a pretty good like summer top. And I bought 3 of them. 3. Yes, 3. I bought 3 of them. So that was my purchase when we went to the yarn store there. Okay, so I think that's all like the knitting and crochet that I have to share with you guys this week. So if you aren't interested in hearing like 5 minutes about our trip and everything, I thank you for stopping by, and I super appreciate that you did. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It will allow YouTube to show my video to people who like yarn and crafty things, so I would appreciate it. Okay, so as for life, we had a great time at the water park. Like I said, it was super crowded, but we did get cheeseburger pizza and fried pickles, which the fried pickles and cheeseburger pizza were amazing. They always are. We always plan on going there, and I'm sure that we always will. I did notice that they had, well, I didn't notice. So as we were walking out of the restaurant, I go, because there are these food trucks, I'm like, hey, they have cheese curd, like fried cheese curds there. I've always wanted to try them at one of the food trucks. And obviously, since we had just eaten, we weren't going to get those now. And my husband goes, oh, well, they have those in the restaurant. You should have said something. And I'm like, ah. So next time we go there, we'll get fried pickles and the fried cheese curds. I've never had those before. I have no idea what they taste like. I have no idea what they even are. But like, I feel like I love cheese. And I really like fried things too, so, right? It makes sense in my mind, guys. Let's see. I listened to a lot of audiobooks at the hotel, and the book that I listened to that I like raced through because it was crazy good. It was What Lies in the Woods, and I have no clue who wrote. I think it was Kate Alice Marshall or I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sorry. So it's going to be down below. It was a great book. It was a book that I couldn't stop listening to once I started. It was one of those books where I was invested in what was going to happen next, which doesn't happen quite often, and was actually really good because while we were at the hotel, I was still having some pain, so it was a good distraction. Now, as for any pain, it's gone. I have no clue what caused it, and I have no clue where it went, but I'm very happy that it just decided to leave. So it is what it is. It's just one of those things. So I'm super happy that it decided not to come back. What other books have I read? I've been listening to Freedom McFadden quite a bit. I've listened to Ward D, and I'm listening to The Inmate right now. And these books are not the typical books that I listen to. I needed some easy listening with everything going on in the last couple of weeks. I just needed something that I didn't really have to pay much attention to. And these books are just like thrillers, I guess, maybe. That's what you would call them. Like I said, they're easy listening. What Lies in the Woods was also easy listening, and I believe it would be considered a thriller. Those were the only books that I've really listened to lately. Once I was feeling better, I started on my AWS class again, and I finished the first go round. So I got I did 100% complete, and now I'm listening to it again, but this time I'm taking notes and skipping the demos because I don't need to do the demos again unless I actually feel like, hey, this would be a good thing to revisit and redo. But for the most part, I'm going to be skipping the demos and just paying attention to the lectures and the theory and taking as many notes as I feel I need. I do feel like the first go round for the class taught me quite a bit, but as far as like theory and technical aspects, I feel like going through it maybe 3 or 4 or 8 times. I'm kidding, but going through it enough to where I actually feel comfortable to take the test would be best. The test is pretty expansive on what you need to know, so there's quite a lot of information that you go through, and I believe there's a lot of videos. I have no clue how many hours are in the class, but it's substantial. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I told my husband that I plan on taking the test sometime in April, possibly, but this is just kind of like a floating goal that I can move back if I don't feel like I'm ready. There's no rush to complete this certification. It's not like there's a time crunch or I have to have it done by a certain day. No, this is just something I decided to do for my personal professional development, and I will get it done and get it done right. So whenever that is, I'll let you guys know. Other than that, there hasn't been that much going on. I had a 3-day work week last week, which was awesome. Definitely good. It was good kind of to just be able to relax for those couple of days. My daughter has been super interested in reading lately, so I've been excited about that. And actually, so has my son. This year, both my kids have like really grown with reading, and I'm gonna tell you why. So it's definitely school. So for my daughter, they're involved in a nationwide accelerated reader class or competition. That's the word. So they're involved in an AR competition where all classes are getting points, and like, I mean, there's nothing that they win, but the kids are so excited about it. My daughter is constantly reading right now because she's just super into the competition, and now she's reading, like, she's picking out books that she wants to read that are a lot higher grade level, and she's reading them and she's understanding them, and she's getting super excited about just growing as a reader, and that makes my heart happy because for a little bit there she was really struggling with reading, and it's great to see her get excited about it and to understand what she's reading. As for my son, so he's in, what grade? He's in 7th grade. Why do I always have a problem with that? He's getting so old now that like all the grades are melding together. But my son is in 7th grade, and this year for his English class, he had a new teacher, and the first thing she told them that was that they had to read, I forget how many books, quite a bit of books, like 50. I'll have to ask him, but they have a specific number of books they have to read this year. And it's not just any books. They have to read certain genres. So they have to read one graphic novel, and they have to read a thriller and a fantasy. So she's not only having them read, she's having them reach out and read different genres, which I love, right? Because you don't know if you like something until you try it. So they have to read a nonfiction book, a biography. Just, it's great. So he's been reading nonstop all year. And when we went to his parent-teacher conference, several of the teachers that we saw, because he swaps for classes, several of the teachers that we saw said that he's constantly reading. And that's great, because before this year, he started off like when he was younger, loving to read. He got to 4th grade and he was reading all the time. He would stay up at night with a flashlight and try to like read without us knowing. And it's hard to say, hey kid, you have to go to bed now. You know, it's really late. You need to go to bed for school, because I mean, he's reading. But anyways, so he, up until like maybe 5th or 6th grade, reading was amazing to him. And then he started getting into video games. And now he's coming back. And that's awesome, because I think that reading is just great. It's a great way to open your mind and see perspectives from other people. And that's just something that should be celebrated. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I have. I'm gonna stop talking before I just randomly start going off on more tangents. I am super happy that you guys came today, and I appreciate it. If you could, please hit the like or subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And I will be here next week. I'm not sure what I will be working on next week. I don't know if I'll do a colorwork hat next week. I've been really wanting to do some, maybe like a plain ribbed hat, or maybe like a cabled hat. I've been super interested in working on some cabled hats, but I guess I'll see. I'm not sure. Maybe I won't even make a hat. Maybe I'll work on the cardigan and try to get it done. I also have a muscle burrow that I've been working on, and it's pretty long now, so maybe I'll finish, or well, try to finish that up this week. It's fingering, so I don't think I'll be able to finish it, but I might be able to make a substantial amount of progress. That might work too. I should probably finish that up, because I have some more sock yarn that I want to cast on for another muscle burrow, but I need to concentrate on one at a time so that I get them done. Anyways, tangents. Sorry. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next week. Bye.